Hello, this is Browski. Coming to you today with a lot of exciting news. Actually, one exciting news, but I just want to share a little bit about it, a little bit more about the exciting news. Now, as you can see in the bio, it says soundcloud.com/Browski, and that's where you will find the podcast that I've been producing. It's called Street Grammar, Voice of the Blind. I like to talk to interesting people. And I had recently posted uh, this photo saying that I just submitted to iTunes Connect podcast, the Street Grammar, and it was submitted for review. And recently, I got this in the email, and I went to connect to iTunes Connect to confirm was active. I was jumping up and down. Um, I couldn't hold it. It was funny because my parents came to visit and I was just showing them, oh, I'm on iTunes, as if it was a big deal. And they just played along. And my mom was like, are you on the iPhone? So I went on her phone and I showed her that you could see, and I showed my name in a podcast. I was just showing off. Um, Playfully, but also still excited because I decided to go into this thing of podcast production for fun and for education. Learn what it takes to produce media because I like to. I guess I like the idea of producing media and influencing the not influencing, participating, because the word influence is overused. I don't think I'm an influencer. I think I am just another person who wants to share conversations mostly about interesting stuff. Doesn't have to be interesting to you, but it's interesting to me and the people in the conversation. So I like to share them. And Instagram is part of the whole ecosystem of the Browski universe, right? Now, Browski, how did I choose the name? I didn't choose the name. Just somebody I knew just called me, "What's up, Browski?" I was like, "Whoa, that sounds cool. I'm gonna keep it." Now, there's another thing. I like things that have a meaning. Now, this has a meaning because it came from somebody that actually cared. And it sounds cool, so I just keep it, right? I could have come up with something similar and it would have been cool as well. I would have found a meaning for it, right? Now, I've been posting a lot about travel, about Montreal mostly, about Canada, about the Toronto Raptors. Again, still the champions. 2018, 2019. This guy is gone. Good riddance. Thank you, but good riddance. And artists that I like, that I follow, painters, and places and the street, like this sticker. I just posting like that. Now, the reason I started producing the podcast was to learn. Now, you can understand the excitement when I saw the podcast had been accepted. So what did I do? Like any other person would, I go straight to what do you do? You go straight here to iTunes podcast. These are the lists of the stuff I have, and you can see the podcast there. I went straight to search street grammar with the wrong grammar because it's a noun, I guess, or a name. The reason I chose ER rather than AR, it's just to be original. Nothing more, nothing less. I couldn't find a name. I just decided that would be it. Or I had been thinking about it, but I had to choose something. That's what I chose. I went to SoundCloud. I created the profile and went with it, right? Now, when you search this, you'll find Datas. I'll shake it just for you, right? Shake it. And it says Browski, aka my second first name and last name. and the description. The first two podcasts are up now. Now that I've done that, you can go straight to the first podcast and we'll listen to the introduction. I'll tell you a little bit how I chose the introduction and
We're just
continue
gonna
listening.
talk our hearts out.
Go back. Street Grammar 1. So the sound you just heard, I'll just play it again for you. Street Grammar 1. So Street Grammar 1. Yes. So it's something I put together. I needed an intro. So I went on YouTube and I was looking for how to produce an intro. Nothing came up. I just told myself, this is just sound, okay? Just think about something that sounds original. It really doesn't matter. I could not take the lion from the movie studio. I could not take an animal. So I just thought, let me just produce something. The first thing that came to my mind was something that sounded like a neon light, right? So, but it had to had a little bit of presence, have a little bit of presence. So what do? I record my clipper, turning on the clipper, like literally just turning it on for like those 1.23 seconds. And then I looked for a neon light sound on the internet, downloaded it, put it in the second track. And third, I say, oh, this is empty. So I put in the sound of the MacBook volume up and down. That's it. Pretty simple. Compressed it, sent it, named it, sent it in iTunes and GarageBand each time I need it. And then I just record the intro, right? Now, the first podcast was an adventure. First of all, I had the idea. My friend said, look, I would do it. But when somebody says I'll do it, it's the first time you do a podcast. They know it. You're probably going to mess it up. But they trust you or they just support you, so they accept. I had spoken to a restaurant owner, one of the restaurant in Montreal. It was in their beginning. It was exciting. I was getting something from them. And then I said, well, do you mind if I come to your restaurant and record my podcast? I have a small podcast that I'm starting. I'll come here and we'll talk about how you started this business for a few minutes and what you do. I'm going to broadcast it. And then we're going to talk about this and this and this. I told them exactly the theme and what we're talking about. And she looked at me for like 30 seconds and was a long, awkward pose. She looked around, talked to her partner, and they said, yes. I'm like, exciting. I go to work because I worked with my friend who actually is the first person to interview. And he said yes. So we choose the date. I take my tools, the computer, the microphone stand, the B1 studio projector, studio mic, and cord and everything. It was heavy. Put it in the car, drive to the location. I meet my friend. I tell him, go inside. I'm going to unpack everything. I unpack everything. I start setting up. I'm all excited. I look all professional. We eat, and then we start talking, just getting ready, warming up. Then I said, oh, by the way, let's just try and see if this is going to work, like the recording. Oh, disappointment, big disappointment. The sound wasn't coming through. Now, I just thought, well, I don't know how to use this thing. I've never recorded voice directly to GarageBand. I'm just going to adapt. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? I usually record voices or like a concert or street jams. So I just broke out my phone, iPhone 5, and then started recording. That's why the sound is a little bit, it's over compressed in my knowledge. So I had to layer two of the same tracks so the sound comes out right and override the volume. This just to say that when you do start your own podcast, just remember that it's not going to be perfect, okay? You can take a class on podcasting, which I don't advise, because the best way to find out is to first make the mistakes and then try to correct them. Try to produce your first, just record the first podcast, okay? Just test something, right? An interview. See where you are having problems and then build up on that, right? That was the objective. Now, obviously, I wasn't going to talk about something that doesn't interest me. So I chose representation. Now, I'll let you hear the first few seconds of 1 minute or two of the podcast just to explain to you what's going on. Okay. And I'll be browsing the
Representation,
Instagram.
obviously.
So today we're talking with Eve Nimbona about representation, and we are at Hillary's Salad on Saint Denis. We'll send the links in the menu. Links in the menu. Links, the links on the post. Well, I'll let Eve introduce himself and then introduce the theme of the day. And later on, he'll talk about the songs that he chosen for today's show. All right, guys, what's going on? My name is Eve Nimbona, just a guy who likes to chill and hang out. As King said, we are currently at Hillary's Salad, 3813A on Saint Denis, at the corner of Foix. We have just enjoyed a pretty good salad, bigger than what I expected, to be honest with you. King said, basically we're just gonna talk our hearts out about representation, songs, and all of that, and movies. Most specifically. Got the opportunity to talk to the owner of Hillary's Salad, which is named after her, as a matter of fact. And please come through. Pretty interesting concept. It's based on the 9 personalities. There's a book written by Mr. Bear with me for a few seconds. Mr. Don Richard Risso and Russ Hudson. It goes by the complete guide to psychological and spiritual growth for the 9 personality type. The wisdom of the Enneagram. It basically says that everybody in the world has 9 personalities. The menu in the restaurants are actually based on those 9 personalities, whether that be a helper, achiever, investigator, perfectionist, and so on and so forth. So come through, check it out. They actually have they'll be having a workshop with a meal included on July 15th, 2018. The links will be provided in the Dropbox caption or whatever of the post, and the Instagram or the Facebook will be Hillary Salad. So please go check it out. All right. And today theme has been chosen by Eve. Obviously, he's the guest on the show, and he's the first guest because he was there when it was created. From the mind spoken into reality, and he has chosen representation. And if you would like to know the train of the theme, it's going to be the movie Bienvenue à Gondwana, and the second one is Black Panther. Obviously, we had to talk about Black Panther when we talk about representation, and I would like to let Eve tell us about why he chose those 2 movies and what he thought about the movies and what they represent for him. Obviously, we need to know what they stand up for. All right, yeah. So the first movie, Bienvenue au Gondwana, is a French film. It's a French comedy about a dictatorship and...
So, as you heard, that was the first theme. And this was recorded with an iPhone. Okay? And I was disappointed, but I didn't beat myself up. I was just, let's see where this goes. I didn't learn how to record with a professional mic up until a few weeks ago, okay? Even then, I had a professional mic. I had bought them the same day I bought them. I had an interview. I recorded in mono, 1 track, so you in stereo on 1 track, which is going to be interesting. I hope you guys like it. It's coming up soon. It's gonna be with one of the artists that I actually been following. This is the artist, and you will be able to find her on her Instagram, right? Oh, by the way, the person who I just interviewed for that podcast is Evening Bona, like he said, and his Instagram is somewhere. Oh wait, his Instagram is if nope, can't find him. We'll find him here. If there it is. Okay, that's him. All right. So, um, that's the first podcast. Okay, that's the first podcast, and that was a very interesting way to actually start, and it went well according to me. I don't know about you, but I loved it. Now, once we tried it, I rapped, I went home. I didn't even think about it. It was like, oh wow, first podcast. Just like I'm excited right now. So if you can take anything from it, just be excited, man. Nobody else is gonna be as excited as you are. If you're not excited, you're going to be losing out. I don't know who this person is. And she looks very angry. Oh, about the president of the United States. We're going to stay away from that. Nice shoes. Probably very expensive. Not gonna be buying that stuff. All right. So yeah. Now, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Now, if you want to listen to it, if you want to listen and hear what we talked about the two movies and what it means to, to work towards representation that is really representative, and the imagination of a future Africa that is positive imagination or representation of Africa, and also participating in everything that is this planet, because at the end of the day we're all citizens of this planet now, and that's one of the thing that I'd like to try and find within the people I interview, that citizenship of this world. And as I learn how to do this, right? And what else? And this is the description I had used, because the iTunes is going to stream everything. It's going to take the description. It's going to take the links. It's going to take the picture. As you can see, the picture is not wide enough because the lettering was too big. I didn't edit it. And like I said, I had told you that I used normal the normal writing, like street space grammar with the AR. That's an homage to my parents who always push for education. I just thought I'm not gonna embarrass them for the first episode. I'm just gonna do it for the rest of the episode. So I wrote it correctly with the AR. And so the second episode is about black feminism. I chose to play the second part because it's an interview that you can actually listen in two parts separately. They don't have to follow each other. I'm going to upload the first part, which is more of just the person herself, but this second part is about what she does as a feminist and how she thinks, how she navigates through feminism, how she takes care of herself, the way she sees the world and projects her ideas. I'll let you find out. Now, I just wanted to share this excitement and encourage anybody else who is trying to produce their podcast. I didn't have any clear objective for this video other than just share the excitement. I am working towards uploading the podcast to Google Play Music so that like the two major platforms can have the podcast. It's not gonna be easy because I guess it's not easy to upload to Google Play Music, but I think it's possible. That's my way of seeing things. In the meantime, I would like to say thank you for your attention. I know you have other things to do. Hopefully, you made it through the end of my rambling or mumbling. Um, yes. So yeah, that's the exciting news. Hopefully, I'll talk to you soon, and you'll be listening to the podcast. And if you have interesting ideas, you can hit me up on Instagram. Um, I don't use email. Just use Instagram. You can just write me a message. I answer very quickly. If you're in an area I can reach by foot, car, or airplane, I will. If I can do it, if it's on my way, if it's not getting on the way. If you have a show, I will attend the show because I like to go to shows if I can afford it or if it's free, if I have time. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, yeah, I have a podcast about tattoos. And this is Marley, who decided to get tattoo of Montreal. We talked about tattoos, intellectual property. We went to Jazz Tattoo, and Jazz is actually a tattoo artist who owns a tattoo shop downtown Montreal on Saint Catherine and Saint Laurent. Please check it out. We're very gracious to let us go in and film, and pretty exciting podcast as well. It's in two part. One part is getting the podcast about getting the tattoo, the first tattoo, and the other one is just a conversation between a tattoo artist and somebody who's getting tattooed. I don't know the word for someone who's getting tattooed, and they talk about Montreal politics. They talk about finance. They talk about world politics, economics, social sciences, but the thing is, I didn't want to put up that podcast. It's a 1 hour tape of two people sitting intimately because it's an intimate moment being tattooed. It's between the artist and the person who's being tattooed. And the most annoying part of recording a tattoo artist tattooing is the needle. It's a constant. I don't know how to say it. But it's beautiful if you take time to listen what they talk about. If you know Montreal, you would love it, right? And Jazz is this very outgoing guy, but you can see he's a shy guy, but he's opinionated. He's a cool guy who doesn't really, although he's opinionated, he's not forceful. He's very caring. I really enjoy listening to it every now and then. And this is one of my favorite art that Jazz has produced. It's a tiger slash, anyway, it's just visually amazing. You need to see it in color. And there's this one as well. It's pretty funny because it's very funny. It should be scary, but it's funny. Yeah. Anyway, so that's one of the podcast that is coming up. I haven't been able to actually publish it. Yeah. So thank you very much for listening. It's been Browski bragging about having a podcast on iTunes. Peace, love, and hard work. Yeah, it can't be peace and love without being a socialist, communist. Hard work. Yeah. I'm going away before I say something else that is even more stupid than what I just said. to end the podcast. Talk to you later.